In the world of boxing, every round is a chess match, every jab a calculated move. But sometimes, all of that strategy evaporates in the blink of an eye. Because in this sport, it only takes one punch to change everything. A single moment of perfect timing, devastating power, and surgical precision can erase hours of training, rewrite the script, and send shockwaves through the boxing world. In this countdown, we relive the cleanest, most jaw-dropping knockouts ever caught on camera. Those freeze-frame moments when legends were born, dynasties ended, and crowds erupted in disbelief. From perfectly placed counters to lights-out haymakers, these are the punches that didn't just finish fights, they made history. Nonito Donaire versus Fernando Montiel, 2011. In 2011, Nonito Donaire delivered one of the most explosive and clinical knockouts in modern boxing history when he faced Fernando Montiel. Dubbed the Filipino Flash, for good reason, Donaire was already known for his blistering hand speed and lethal timing. But on this night, he showcased both in devastating fashion. The fight barely had time to simmer before Donaire landed a lightning-fast left hook in the second round that shattered Montiel's equilibrium. The punch didn't just knock him down, it short-circuited his entire nervous system. Montiel's body convulsed on impact, and in one of the most surreal moments ever caught on camera, he managed to rise to his feet before collapsing sideways in a delayed collapse that still stuns fight fans to this day. That knockout wasn't just a highlight. It was a masterclass in anticipation, timing, and precision that catapulted Donaire into pound-for-pound discussions and reminded the world that the lower weight classes could deliver heavyweight-level drama. Roberto Durán versus Thomas Hearns, 1984. When Thomas the Hitman Hearns squared off against the legendary Roberto Durán in 1984, fans expected fireworks, but no one predicted what would unfold. In just 2 rounds, Hearns delivered a knockout so brutally clean that it forever altered the myth of Durán's granite chin. Durán, a battle-hardened warrior who had never been dropped cold before, was systematically dismantled by Hearns' piston-like right hand. After a knockdown in the first round, Hearns unleashed a straight right in the second that looked like it had been fired from a cannon. Durán's head snapped back violently, and his body followed like a marionette with its strings cut. The iconic image of Durán sprawled beneath the ropes became a grim reminder that even legends can be humbled by one perfect punch. That KO was more than a finish. It was a statement. Hearns didn't just beat Durán, he detonated him, adding one of the most clinical knockouts ever to his legacy and cementing his place among the 4 kings of boxing's golden era. Julian Jackson versus Herol Graham, 1990. Julian Jackson, or the Hawk, had dynamite in his fists, and in 1990, he proved that one punch can erase an entire fight's worth of domination. Facing the slick and elusive Herol bomber Graham, Jackson was being picked apart, losing on the cards, and struggling with vision problems that had required recent eye surgery. But just as it seemed the referee might step in to stop it, Jackson uncorked an overhand right from nowhere, a blind missile that landed flush and instantly turned off Graham's lights. Graham, who had been masterfully avoiding danger all night, fell like a tree in the forest, unconscious before he hit the canvas. The silence that followed was as loud as the punch itself. What made this KO even more remarkable was that Jackson threw the punch with poor balance and limited vision. But when you hit as hard as the Hawk, you only need to be right once, and he was. Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton, 2009. When Manny Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton clashed in 2009, the result was one of the most perfectly timed, devastating knockouts ever seen in a boxing ring. The fight had been billed as a war, and it was, but only for 5 minutes and 59 seconds. Pacquiao dropped Hatton twice in the first round with surgical speed and blistering angles. setting a pace the Brit couldn't handle. Then, with just a second left in the second round, Pacquiao feinted low and launched a monstrous left hook over the top. Hatton's head turned at the exact wrong moment, and the punch caught him square on the jaw. The hitman was instantly out cold, flat on his back, staring at the ceiling lights as his arms froze in mid-air. The sound of the punch, the timing, the precision. It was a masterpiece in motion. The KO didn't just end the fight. It ended an era for Hatton and solidified Pacquiao as a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. Artur Szpilka versus Deontay Wilder, 2016. Artur Szpilka was giving Deontay Wilder all he could handle in 2016. Awkward angles, southpaw movement, and a surprisingly effective counter game. But Wilder, as always, was patiently waiting for the one mistake. In the 9th round, Szpilka leaned just a hair too far to his left, and Wilder detonated a right hand from the shadows. The punch didn't just end the fight, it nearly ended the stadium. Szpilka collapsed in an instant, completely unconscious before his body hit the canvas. The silence that followed was eerie, as medics rushed in while fans watched the replay in shock. Wilder's raw power was never more evident than in this KO, which looked like something out of a video game. You could hear the thud echo through Barclays Center. It was violent, sudden, and terrifying. The kind of knockout that reminds everyone exactly why you don't blink during a Wilder fight. Sergio Martinez versus Paul Williams II, 2010. In their first fight, Sergio Martinez and Paul Williams had gone to war, 12 rounds of chaos that ended in a controversial decision. The rematch was supposed to be another tactical battle, but Martinez had other plans. In the second round, he feinted, dipped, and launched a short, looping left hand that landed like a grenade on Williams's chin. Williams, known for his iron jaw, collapsed instantly, his limbs splayed, his eyes staring at nothing. It was one of those KOs where the opponent never even saw it coming, and worse, never saw it go. The punch was thrown with casual economy, no wind-up, no tell, just pure timing and torque. The fight was over the moment the punch landed, and Martinez didn't even bother to celebrate. He knew Williams wasn't getting up. It was shocking, clinical, and arguably the greatest single left hand ever delivered in middleweight history. Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick, 1986. When a 20-year-old Mike Tyson stepped into the ring against WBC heavyweight champion Trevor Berbick in 1986, boxing fans witnessed the birth of a monster and the dawn of an era. Tyson came out like a wrecking ball, throwing every punch with mean intentions, but it was one thunderous left hook in the second round that rewrote history. Berbick was dropped like a shot deer, but what made this knockout unforgettable was what happened after the punch. Berbick attempted to rise, again and again, but his legs betrayed him every time, stumbling across the ring like a man trying to walk underwater. In total, Berbick went down 3 times from the same punch, a testament to Tyson's once-in-a-generation power. That night, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, and the image of Berbick helplessly trying to stand became an eternal highlight of heavyweight devastation. Sugar Ray Robinson versus Gene Fullmer, 1957. Widely considered the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson added another jewel to his crown in 1957 when he landed the punch that many still call the perfect left hook. Facing the iron-chinned Gene Fullmer, who had never been dropped before, Robinson set a trap in the 5th round, calmly slipping inside and whipping a left hook that detonated on Fullmer's jaw. The punch was so clean and fluid that it looked effortless, almost lazy, until Fullmer dropped like a marionette with its strings cut. No follow-up was needed. No count was necessary. Fullmer later admitted he never even saw the punch. This wasn't just a knockout, it was art in motion, the product of perfect foot placement, hip rotation, and surgical precision. It's still shown in boxing gyms today as the textbook example of what a left hook should look like when thrown by a master of the craft. Juan Manuel Márquez versus Manny Pacquiao 4, 2012. Their fourth meeting was supposed to settle the score between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Márquez, and it did, but in the most violent and final way imaginable. After being dropped earlier in the fight, Pacquiao surged forward in the sixth round, looking to close the show. Instead, he walked right into one of the most perfectly timed counter punches in boxing history. Márquez slipped a jab, feinted to the body, and unleashed an overhand right that collided with Pacquiao's chin at full speed. The result? Pacquiao collapsed face first, unconscious before he hit the mat, while Márquez stood frozen in triumph, arms raised, as the crowd exploded. It wasn't just a knockout, it was revenge, 4 fights in the making. The image of Pacquiao lying motionless on the canvas became instantly iconic, replayed endlessly, and burned into boxing history. Márquez didn't just win the fight, he landed a career-defining punch that shook the sport to its core. Roy Jones Jr. versus Glen Kelly, 2002. Roy Jones Jr. was known for breaking the rules of boxing, dropping his hands, showboating, defying physics, and in 2002 he gave fans one of the most audacious knockouts ever seen. Facing Glen Kelly, Jones was in complete control, playing with angles, speed, and rhythm. But then came the moment that made history. Jones placed both of his hands behind his back, dared Kelly to engage, and in a split second exploded with a leaping right hook that landed flush on Kelly's jaw. It was part taunt, part trap, and all brilliance. Kelly crumpled, outmatched and outgunned, while the crowd erupted in disbelief. This wasn't just a knockout, it was performance art. Jones proved that night that he didn't just possess unmatched athletic gifts. He had the flair, charisma, and timing to humiliate an opponent and finish the fight on his own terms. It remains one of the most disrespectful and cleanest one-punch knockouts ever filmed. Some knockouts are wild, some are lucky. But these were the kind that made the crowd gasp before the fighter even hit the canvas. Each one a masterpiece of timing, technique, and raw instinct. The kind of moments that remind us why we watch this brutal, beautiful sport. These punches didn't just win fights. They defined careers, silenced critics, and left echoes that still bounce around boxing rings to this day. And just when you think you've seen the perfect KO, another fighter steps up and writes their name into highlight reel immortality. So keep your guard up, because in boxing, the next perfect punch could land at any moment.